Hello, athletes. Welcome and thank you for tuning into the Coach Katie Danger podcast, recorded live from Omaha, Nebraska. I'm your host, Coach Katie Danger, U.S. Army veteran, fitness coach, and founder of Red H Nutrition. Here's a fact for you. 99% of us are not elite athletes. We're individuals from all backgrounds, juggling life's priorities, including jobs, our families, their needs, and trying to find time to take care of ourselves. Every single week when you tune in, I'll be discussing clear, concise, and actionable strategies you can use to get the most from your fitness, nutrition, and mindset so you can optimize your life without compromising your time. So athletes, settle in and get comfortable. I'm here to educate, inspire, empower, and entertain you to help you enjoy the unique fitness journey that you are on. Hey athletes, what is up? It is Coach Katie Danger, and thank you for tuning into episode number 77. And this episode is all about the number one reason that you will fail, but the 4 ways that you can overcome. So if you are a math person, or if you like probability, if you like odds, or if you play cards, or you play games, whatever, this is actually a good episode for you because there is one thing that will hold you back, but there are 4 ways to overcome it. So in terms of probability, the odds are stacked in your favor. However, the thing is, with these 4 ways that we overcome, it's going to take action. It's going to take action on our part. And the overcoming that we're looking at is overcoming some very real, some very natural human flaws. And that's okay. And we're going to talk about that. But first, before we dive into the meat and potatoes of this episode, I do want to tell you about what's going on in my life. So I've got my first triathlon coming up this weekend. I am really, really excited about it. It is a sprint distance triathlon. And if you're unfamiliar with the sport of triathlon, it is 3 sports in one. It is a swim, and then you bike, and then you run, and you do it in that order. There are also things called duathlons, and they take out the swim, so then you just bike, and then you run. Now, triathlon means a lot to me. And besides CrossFit, triathlon has a special place in my heart because although I competed in CrossFit for quite a while, triathlons were my first real sport. Like, it was the first time that I ever trained for anything. It was the first time I had any goals in any sort of sport. And it was the first time that I competed in anything outside of any youth sports that I did when I was a young kid. Like, I did youth soccer. I did some peewee flag football when girls were allowed. But as far as like sport, triathlon was my real first thing that I did and I competed in. So it does hold a special place in my heart. And I'm doing a sprint distance. It's on Sunday. I'm really looking forward to it. And there are different distances of triathlon. So I believe that there's generally 5. There's a super sprint, Olympic distance, half Ironman, and Ironman. And they all vary in distance. Super sprint's going to be the shortest. Sprint, Olympic distance, that's what you would see in the Olympics, those distances. And then the half Ironman and Ironman, and of course, Ironman, we all know, is for people who really, really enjoy pain. It is on my bucket list. I am signed up for a half Ironman in Kona, Hawaii next June. I think it's June 5th, 2022. So that's ultimately where I'm headed with my triathlon. Is I want to check that mark off my bucket list. But that's what I got going on this weekend. I got my very first one, almost 3 years. I'm really looking forward to it. I did a mini little mock triathlon with myself yesterday. So I went swimming. I loaded up my bike. I had my bike in my truck. And then I just changed. I had my tri-suit on. So I didn't change clothes. I just changed shoes, hopped on my bike, did 5 miles out, 5 miles back, put my bike away, and then put my running shoes on. And I did a mile. Now, this was also 105 degrees. So it was very, very hot out. I'm a little tired today. I've decided to take a rest day, not completely. I'm going to do some mobility and some lifting later, but that is what I've been doing for my training. And then on the Red H Nutrition front, my actual supplement brand, lots of cool stuff coming down the pipes. I've got a new immunity vitamin, which you can hear. I'm shaking right now. So Immunity Plus, we all know what it's like to miss training days because you're sick. And now you do not have to deal with that anymore. Immunity Plus was created because I was sick and tired of losing training days. And if you're sick and tired of losing training days because you're sick, you got phlegm, you got the aches and pains, you got the flu, then you need Immunity Plus in your life, especially as we're rolling into flu season. Kids are going back to school. All of those transmittable things that we've talked about that have been in the news, whether it's COVID or the flu or, some other bug or virus. Immunity Plus, go to it, redhnutrition.com. And then we've also got a fish oil on the way. So it's going to be called Big Fish. I love the name of it. I'm really looking forward to bringing it out. It's fish oil, and it was a glaring need and a glaring hole in our product line. So now with Big Fish added, 19 total product to the Red H Nutrition product line. So if you haven't been there yet, go to redhnutrition.com. It's my brand, my supplement company, and I would love to share it with you. Let me know if you have any questions about supplements. So now that I've given you some information about what's going on in my life and what I got going on, let's get to the heart of the podcast episode, right? We're going to talk about the number one reason you'll fail and the 4 ways that you're going to overcome it. And since I have launched the coaching program, Metabolic Amplification Formula, it's my 90-day coaching program, I have learned so much from my clients. And I think that they've learned a lot from me because the progress that they've been sharing, it's been exponentially positive. And I'm not just talking about the physical changes, but I'm talking about the mental changes as well. But as I've been working with them, I've realized that coaching is so much more than just meal plans and workouts. It's not just about being able to write tasty food for somebody that falls in line with their macros. And it's not just about being able to program workouts for them. It's on the surface, it's what people think. Like they think they need a meal plan and they think they need workouts. But what they really need is guidance and structure, and not just guidance and structure in the meal planning department or the fitness and workout department, but it's about elevating perspectives. So unfortunately, with the mass influx of fitness coaches online, most coaches just live in the moment, just like their clients do. They react to small fluctuations in weight. They react to bad days. And as a coach, what I believe, as a coach, I believe it is my number one job to elevate the perspective of my clients. And I put the term fitness coach in air quotes because on the internet nowadays, anybody can call themselves something, but it is a whole nother level to actually embody the role of a coach, to be able to elevate your own perspective and then elevate the perspective of others. So I'm sure all of us have encountered something like this. Here it goes. So we're training in a certain way or we're eating a certain way and we start to see those results and we get pretty excited about it. Like, cool, I'm doing something. Like I can see the changes. Maybe you're getting a bicep. Maybe you're seeing a little bit of some abs or you're feeling good. Some energy is improving. We get excited. But then a short time later, we have a bad day or maybe we even have a bad week. And we just think the world's falling apart and we think we must not be doing the right things anymore. And we want to throw in the towel. So what we're doing is we're living in a present moment. We're living in the present context and we fail to see a larger picture. So we quit. We quit what we're doing and we want to try something else. That pattern repeats itself. And I'm sure you've been there before. I've been there before. I know some of my clients have been there before. It just seems like we see the results and then we don't, and then we quit and then it's rinse and repeat. Okay. It's like trying to continue to chase the grass is greener or the next shiny object. Anytime we encounter any sort of obstacle or challenge, it's like, oh, this must not be right for me anymore. And you just move on to something else that you hope will show you results and then not have the challenges along the way. And this goes for anything in life, a job, a relationship, a pet. I mean, and so many people do these things with their pets, right? Like they get a pet, it's glitter and rainbows, and then the pet takes a crap on the carpet. And we're like, well, I don't want a pet anymore. It's too much responsibility. So, obviously I'm a huge pet person. I love guinea pigs. I love animals. I have done quite a bit of rescuing of animals in my life, guinea pigs in particular. So I know that people are fickle and we see it in many different ways. And we're human. Okay, so I'm not calling you fickle, you listening right now, you the podcast listener, everybody's fickle. It's just how do we control that fickleness? How do we get to where we want to go and put aside the humanness that tends to pull us back into status quo, pull us right back to our old habits and behaviors, which we're trying to break out of? The problem is not the plan. It's not the plan that you're doing. It's not the job. It's not the relationship. It's not your dog. It's not your cat. It's our perspective and our inability to see the context from a larger point of view. We simply don't allow enough time to pass so we can gather more information to see the actual truth, to see the actual results. Time. Time is the greatest teacher of all. And the problem is nobody wants to face the reality of time. Nobody wants to deal with time. Like nobody's got any patience anymore. And I get it. I get it. The emotions that we feel in the present moment are strong. Like what you feel when you feel it is valid. It is real. Completely understand that. The problem with what we're doing is that we are addicted to this instant gratification, the instant media, the news. And we all, most of us like to stay on top of the news cycle. If you're watching this on the Facebook Live right now, you've got Facebook. So in some way, shape, or form, you are participating in the social media world. And as much as I don't like to partake in it, I don't actively read the news. But as somebody who uses social media, that stuff is just there. And I've got to put a filter on it in my own mind because social media is not the problem. It's how I perceive, how my perspective takes on this problem and puts that context as somehow on my shoulders as if I have to bear the burden. So we tend to like to stay on top of things. We like to think that we're in the know. And when we've chosen a particular perspective, we like to dig in and we like to say, this is where I stand and I ain't budging. We're so attached to things that just really don't matter in our lives. And I don't know what tomorrow is going to hold, but I will tell you that the news that we hear about today ain't going to matter in a year. Okay. It's just not going to matter. So I don't like to get caught up in it. I do not like to seem that it's important in my life. And I certainly don't want to get caught up in these trivial things that ultimately I don't have the control over, and neither do you. What happens when we give in to that instant gratification and we let ourselves be overcome with the emotions that are flowing from our social media feed, from news media, from our friends and their drama, we let that stuff flow over into our lives. And that stuff inevitably keeps us held back. And that is the biggest problem. And that is why we fail, is we're not patient, and we let the context and circumstances of life and things we don't have control over wear us down. They sit on our shoulders and they don't have to. So you can just brush it off right now. And I want you to pay attention, because now we're going to get into the 4 ways that you can overcome this and rise above and elevate your perspective. This is what I'm trying to, I don't want to preach. I don't want to preach to my nutrition and fitness clients. I want to coach them. So I'm here to coach them to elevate their perspective. And whether you're on a 90-day journey with me or you're on this 1 episode journey with me, please pay attention, because I promise you, I assure you, I guarantee you that this will change your life. It will make you a happier human being. It will put you on a path that is more successful and less demanding and less overwhelming. So here we go, right? One of the most obvious and glaring issues that I come across when I'm onboarding a new client is that my client tends to lack clarity on their goals. They have abstract ideas of what they want, but when they communicate it, it's almost like it's a dream. Like, it's vague, it's superficial, and there's really no plan on how they want to get to point A to point B. They're just like, I want to lose weight. And that is a very worthwhile goal for many reasons, right? We know that proper weight management and healthy weight management leads to a longer, prosperous, more fulfilling life, and generally can allow us to do things maybe that we wouldn't have had access to before, especially if we find ourselves very overweight. But there's no clarity there. There's no clarity. And more than likely, there's been a lot of impatience with certain things tried. And if you're at a point where you have tried things, whether it's losing weight, whether it's gaining muscle, whether it's getting rid of a bad habit, quitting drinking, quitting smoking, quitting drugs, whatever it may be, I'm sure that you've tried. I'm sure that you've tried to overcome what is holding you back right now. And the number one reason that you have not been able to overcome is because you lack patience. You lack the perspective that's necessary. You make knee-jerk reactions in the moment, and you've probably failed to consider the larger picture and how time can actually be your ally. Yes, I'm going to say it again. Time can be your ally. When I say the word process in a coaching sense, I mean a few things. In fact, at the end of this episode, I'm going to tell you to trust the process, believe in the process, all that. And here's what the process means. Here's what I mean when I say it. It means taking a step back from the present, assessing and taking a deeper look at the problem being faced, and then expand and widen the perspective on the context of the situation and how this could shape the future. So instead of throwing in the towel, saying it's not working, you take a step back, you assess, you're like, what am I actually doing? What am I doing right? What, you see obstacles and you don't run away from the obstacle. You either find a way to tear that obstacle down or go around it. That's the new perspective. That's what patience is. It's waiting for life to unfold and waiting for the results to unfold. So you don't make a knee-jerk reaction. You don't throw in the towel before it's too late. Because the number one thing that separates you from getting what you want is just not quitting. It's just not quitting. If you're someone who can admit their humanness, like right now, let's be real with each other. We are all human, okay? You and I, we're human beings. And what that means is that we've got egos and we've got human qualities that are less becoming, and that is okay. That's okay. Like, we're both human. We know those things. Now, when you realize that you're your own worst enemy on the path to your goals, here are the 4 ways you can overcome that humanness. And what you're going to develop is a far-sighted perspective. So instead of being nearsighted and in the moment, we're talking about a far-sighted perspective. And there's 4 specific ways in which you can do this. And the very first one is just wait. Just wait and be patient. And yes, sometimes that means just twiddling your thumbs and waiting for things to play out, waiting for life to happen. Now, this isn't about complacency. There's still some action involved, but it's action and then waiting, action and then waiting. See how this is going to play out. Let the time pass. Don't take as much action. Don't throw in the towel. And here's an example. If you're an emotional eater and you tend to grab the cookies when you get emotional, developing the skill of just waiting can have a huge impact on the success of your dieting plan or your weight loss goals. And that is as simple as you're having a day, okay? You're having a day. You get home, you're angry about something, something's frustrated you, and your typical response is to go grab the Chips Ahoy. And I say this because that's been something that I've had to overcome. So you go and you get your tasty treat and you want to sit down and you just want to eat. You want to like feel something different, so you eat. What you need to do instead is just wait, think about how you feel, and stop self-sabotaging. And sometimes if you can just find a moment to give yourself space between that trigger and that emotion, you realize that just as a little time passes, you're okay. You're okay. You don't need to go to the cookies because you give yourself enough time to realize that eating the cookies ain't going to fix the problem. And then you don't make that decision. You don't add insult to injury. You're frustrated, you're angry. There's no reason to go grab the cookies because now the cookies are only going to sabotage your weight loss goals. So don't add insult to injury. Two lefts don't make a right. However you want to spin this, just wait. That's what I'm trying to communicate here. When you get upset, when you want to soothe the pain and the discomfort, just wait. So the next time you become emotional or the world seems to be too demanding and you want an answer right now, just resist that emotion, be patient, let some time pass. And I promise you that after that time passes, you will be in a much better position than if you gave in to that moment. All right, so the next thing you can do is pick your battles wisely. So here's the scene. I'm going to set the stage for you. You got a lot on your plate. You got the kids. You got to get a workout in, family, in-laws, your job, your boss, your coworkers, and your goals. Like all this stuff is happening at the same time. It's on your plate. What do you do? So you get the idea. There's lots of struggles. There's lots of things going on at the same time, and they all seem to need your attention. And you've invested so much into certain things now, it seems impossible to pull back, especially if we're talking about like your job, your coworkers, your in-laws, family. You have to take care of yourself. You have to pick your battles wisely. Because of all of these things, you generally lose track of what really matters. You lose track of your actual values and your priorities in life. So you're constantly reacting and you're not able to respond. You become embroiled in all the dramas of the other people around you. And so what do you do instead? Here's what you do instead. I'm going to take a sip of coffee and then I'll tell you what you do instead. Hey, I know, and you know, that I talk a lot about using supplements on your fitness journey and reaching your full potential. How I believe they're integral pieces of the puzzle to reaching your best self and best fitness results. But do you know how supplements fit into your plan? Do you know what to take for your goals and how much of a supplement you should take? If you've ever had any of those questions and you want to know how supplements can work for you and your goals, go to yourfitnesssupplements.com and take the free 3-point personalized supplement assessment. And with just a few questions, you'll have a complete personalized supplement recommendation in less than 60 seconds. You'll know more about how supplements fit into your fitness goals, what's safe, and what's effective and perfect for you. So type in yourfitnesssupplements.com in your internet browser, take the free assessment, and get on the fast track to your best fitness results. You're going to create a value ladder of priorities. You're going to give yourself some space. So we're going to go back to the first thing you do. Take a moment, give yourself some space, remind yourself what really matters. Some of these battles that you're fighting right now, you just need to detach yourself from them because they don't matter. Free up some space. I'm going to tell you right now, your ego doesn't matter. Your ego is only going to get you into trouble in anything that you do. If you can take a step back from your ego and your words and really just put on display your values and priorities, and put action towards those, that's what really matters. Most battles are going to be a waste of your time and energy. Give yourself space, know what your priorities are, what matters, and then detach yourself from the circumstances that are petty and frustrating. So that's number 2. Pick your battles wisely and pick your battles based on your values and priorities and not anybody else's. Number 3, forget what's trending. Forget what is trending right now and what's popular. I despise the word trending. It just absolutely drives me bonkers, okay? The word trending is a synonym for in the moment. And being involved in the trend is a quick way to lose focus on what really matters. Now, I know that being part of a trend makes us feel like we're part of something, like we're moving with the flow of life and we're in the know and we're in the hip and whatever else the kids are calling it nowadays. It makes us seem like we're important, especially when the instant news networks are just flashing all this fancy stuff in front of our face. We want to be a part of it. And I get it. And the funny thing is people are fickle, like I just said. And since trends are set by people, the trends are also going to be fickle. So they're going to change just like that. It's going to be really hard to keep up with them. And that's why I say getting caught up in the trends is only going to keep you running on a hamster wheel. There's no real progress actually happening. And I know they can be fun, but momentarily, it's just all a facade. People are not actually coming together. When you're part of a trend, you're not actually coming together for a greater cause. It's just very in the moment. It's superficial and it's fleeting. And there's really no substance to it. As soon as that trend wears out, people move on. So what matters more here is forget about what's trending, take a step back, let the trends come and go, observe them, laugh at them, whatever. Some of them are fun. But when you have a strong foundation of values, priorities, faith, family, and whatever else matters to you, these micro trends that come and go so quickly, some of them in a day, they don't matter anymore and they don't whisk you off your feet and keep you running in place. It's about trusting a process and not following the next bright and shiny light that seems to be the promised land. Because these trends, they come and go within days. They're not going to take you where you want to go. And it's only going to keep you running in place. So that's number 3. Forget what is trending. Number 4. Okay. Oh, shit. This is going to be the hard one. This next one is give up control. This can be the hardest thing to do of all. And I'll be the first to admit that I am so guilty of this. I often feel overwhelmed by life and work, and I feel like there's a need to be on top of it all. Like I need to know what's going on all the time, everywhere in my businesses, and it gets very overwhelming. And I am very clear that that is a limitation of mine. That is a self-limiting behavior. I'm actively working on it. So I'll be the first one to admit control. Oh God, I'm a control freak. And I know there's lots of people out there listening that are also like this as well. You want to know all the details. You want to be the one pulling all the strings. But here's the thing. Here's the catch-22 about it. When you feel the need to be in control of everything, to be the one playing puppet master, pulling all the strings, it actually leaves you less in control because so many other things get forgotten about that matters. I was reading a book this morning. It's Robert Greene. Robert Greene, he writes a lot of good books like The Laws of Power, 40, 50 Laws of Power. I read that book before. But this one is The Laws of Human Nature. And the control aspect came up because we get paralyzed, paralysis by analysis. I'm sure you've heard of it before. I am going to paraphrase this here, but in Spain, in like the early 1600s, some king of Spain, right? Okay, so total control freak, ended up being the downfall of him. He got so obsessed with how the layout of his castle was set up that he didn't pay attention to reports of spies or people in his inner circle and sabotage and treason. And all he was worried about was the layout of his castle and where the bathrooms were going to be in relation to certain things. Like, that's what I mean by catch-22 is we get so concerned with some of these small details that don't matter. We don't see the bigger picture. And then we really do end up shit in the bed and not getting what we want because we think we're in control, but we are not. What you actually need is a mental filtering system that goes back to your priorities, your values, and your goals. Knowing what you want to accomplish in the end will help you manage the tasks that actually matter. And sometimes you do need to delegate. You need to find people you trust. You need to find competent people because you can delegate these tasks and keep your focus on the things that actually matter, that you are the main role player in. Greater control does not come from doing it all. Greater control comes from being able to be realistic about where you're at, where you want to go, and what actions will actually get you to where you want to go. Okay, so those are the 4. I'm just going to repeat them here real quick. Number 1, just wait. Be patient. Number 2, pick your battles wisely. Number 3, forget what's trending. And number 4, give up control. Now, you probably picked up the theme that all 4 of these ways to overcome the reasons that you fail is having a clear set of values and priorities. You have to know what matters to you. You have to know why it matters. That is your guiding compass through all of this. This will keep you patient. This will keep you watching the world unfold, even when it might look like the world's burning. If you know what your values and priorities are, you're set. Now you just have to overcome your humanness and be a little patient. Let the world happen. Let things happen. Don't involve yourself in all the mundane minutia of life. Most of it doesn't even matter. And as long as you have your values and priorities straight, I think you're on the right track. As a coach, I mentioned one of my goals is to help my clients widen their perspective, to rewrite their own rules, slow down time, and be able to take that breath without feeling like the moment that they rest, they're a failure. It's inevitable. I know it's inevitable that my clients are going to have challenges. They're going to become restless, and they'll probably overreact to things. I mean, I overreact to things. And as a coach, though, I am here to help them see in the future, to see what's happening in the present moment, and that it's not fatal, and then to help them exercise their potential power that they have on the future with patience, that contextual awareness, and clarity of values and priorities. I mean, that isn't to say that I ask my clients to become less human. I mean, enjoying the frivolities of life is what makes us human. These things are pleasurable. That's why I'm always coaching structure, not restrictions, Because if you got to have a couple beers during the week, that's fine. If you've got to have a tasty treat on Fridays because you made it through the week and you did what you need to do, then that's fine too. Structure, not restrictions. That essentially should be part of your values and priorities package. And I want to ask, like, does your coach, if you're working with a coach right now, does your coach do this stuff for you? As I said before, coaching is so much more than meal plans and workouts. It's about widening perspective, rewriting the rules. And if you feel that in the moment that you're failing, the first thing I want you to do is stop. So if you're listening to this podcast right now, stop what you're doing, stop what you're thinking, and just be present. Don't fight the feelings. I'm not asking you to stop from feeling all the feelings. What I'm asking for you is to be patient, stop for a moment, and then really do let yourself feel what you're feeling, because it's okay. This is human. This is part of being human, having emotions. If you didn't have emotions, you probably wouldn't be human. I know that these things feel very real for you, but I don't want you to get caught up in the moment. I don't want you to make rash decisions. So give it a day or two. Look at your goals again. What really matters? Are you focused on what matters, or have you let the heat of the moment creep in on your life and change your perspective on things? So perhaps it's time you give up some control and bring another perspective into your life. Do you have a friend? Do you have a coach? If fitness and nutrition are part of your goals and you found yourself on a hamster wheel and you can't get off, you feel like you're treading water, running in place, whatever analogy you want to use, then hiring a coach might be the next step in your process, in your journey. You guys, listen, I'm not perfect. And I know I will never have this thing called life all figured out, but that's the fun part. The fun part is being able to adapt and be dynamic. I try to actively work on my shortcomings. I make attempts to be aware of what I'm doing. I make attempts to call out my self-limiting beliefs. Like, I don't want to let myself off the hook. I don't want to let myself get by with the BS that I tell you guys is unacceptable. I want to hold myself accountable. And I do that by being aware, but I also do have a business coach who helps me stay in line. And just like you, if you're looking for fitness and nutrition accountability, getting a coach is very, very key here. I want to overcome my false beliefs. I want to overcome my limiting beliefs because I truly do want to be better. And if I can be, I guess I'm just going to be honest with you because that's what I do in this podcast, at least for 77 episodes. I've always been honest with you. Everyone listening to this podcast now, whether it's right now, whether it's in a future episode or a future date, this episode right now, if you exercise patience and you make time your friend, then your entire life is going to be better. Your entire future will be better. And instead of looking at life through a lens of negativity and thinking that time is your enemy, you're going to see that time is actually your friend, okay? And time is going to help you more than you ever thought before if you can just exercise some patience and keep those goals, those values, the foundation that you have in your mirror up front, not in your side view, like right in front of you. That's what you want in front of you all the time. I do want to make a clarification between action and patience. There's a fine line between the two. Now, you should be patient when you get frustrated. You need to take a moment to breathe. You should be patient when you start a new fitness and nutrition program because you're not going to see life-changing results in 2 to 4 weeks. But you should also be taking action, whether that's action through reflection of what you're doing and thought or actual physical action. Don't ever confuse patience for complacency. Patience is silence and action, okay? So it's silence and thought and solitude and action, whereas complacency is the absence of action altogether. We never want to be complacent. So don't think being patient is lazy. Don't think being patient is complacent, because it is not. It is still action. It just might be silent action. If a life-changing transformation is your goal, then hiring a coach could be the next step for you. A coach is going to help you overcome your limitations, overcome limiting beliefs, and lead you to where you want to go. It will take action on your part, and it will take patience. But do you know what the reward for that is? Do you know what the reward is for patience and action? It's results. It's results guaranteed. I know nothing in life is guaranteed, but if you exercise patience and action and you're willing to do the work, you'll get to where you want to go. That's guaranteed. I'm living proof. And that is what I want to coach my clients. If you trust the process, believe in the journey, and don't ever quit on yourself, you'll get the results you've always wanted. That's a promise. From me to you, that's a promise. And I would love to be your coach. So if you want to learn more about how my coaching style and my program, my metabolic amplification formula, my 90-day coaching program, if you want to learn more about how that can help you, I want you to go to my website. I want you to schedule a call with me right now. We'll talk about your health. We'll talk about your fitness. We'll talk about your workouts. And then we can determine if we are a good fit. We're going to determine if you've got the ability to put forth the action to make the changes. And then you'll determine, am I a good coach for the style that you need to keep you on track? Because both these go together, right? 90 days of coaching. We've got to be a good fit together. You got to trust me and I got to trust you. So if that sounds like something you want to do, I want you to go to metabolicamplificationformula.com and I want you to schedule your free call with me. It's only 30 minutes and we can dive pretty deep into what makes you tick, put those values, those priorities, and all those things at the front and center so you can really see what matters and stop wasting your time on stuff that doesn't matter. Stop spending 20, 50 bucks on cookie cutter programs that just aren't going to do it for you. So if you're looking for a coach who wants to elevate your perspective and give you a new opportunity to get different results than the hamster wheel you've been on before, metabolicamplificationformula.com. So, all right, athletes, that is it for episode number 77. I really want to thank you for sharing this time with me. I hope that you realize that there are many ways to overcome your perceived limitations. And the only person that puts those limitations on you is you. Okay? So the number one reason that you're not going to be successful is if you're not patient, you quit on yourself. But there are very 4 quick ways that you can exercise action and overcome those. And I'll reiterate them one more time because they are so important. It is to just wait, to let some time pass. Pick your battles wisely. Not everything matters. Not everything matters. So pick your battles. Forget what's trending. Do not fall into the trap of thinking that instant news is what matters right now. Okay? There's so much more to life than instant news and instant gratification. So forget what's trending. You can look at it, you can laugh at it, but try not to absorb much of it, okay? Just let it roll right off of you like water does on duck. And then the last thing is give up control. And I know this could be one of the hardest things to give up control because it's kind of fun to play puppet master sometimes, but it's a catch-22. The more things you try to control, the more things that you actually lose your scope of. So give up control, forget what's trending, pick your battles, and just be patient and wait because time is your friend. Time is not your enemy. I hope that you all take this information, you digest it, you think about it, and it can change your life. If you want a coach to work with, I'll say it one more time, metabolicamplificationformula.com. I'd love to chat with you and learn more about what makes you tick and see if there is a way that we can put together a program that makes sense for you in the context of your life with structure, but without restrictions, so you can still enjoy this process. So in the meantime, athletes, I want you to do a few things. I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to trust the process, enjoy the journey, and most importantly, don't ever quit on yourself. Athletes, this is Coach Katie Danger. It's been a pleasure. And until next time, over and out.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.